Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. This is the show where we look at all of the most active stocks in Yahoo Finance that I find interesting. Now, the one I want to look at right now, I'm very curious about SoFi. I've not looked at SoFi in a long time. I know there's a lot of SoFi fanboys and I have a lot of respect for that whole crew because I think that SoFi, if it reminds me so much of the type of stock that I would have expected back in the mid 2010s when you had Twitter breaking out, you had Facebook breaking out when it was back when it was actually FB. 2010, 2014, 2015, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2015. 2016. Let's look at SoFi. What is going to be one of the most redeeming parts of SoFi overall, in terms of its ability to perform as a stock, is that it is a brand that is essentially connected to the young money, in the sense of they're a student loan. Now they're essentially a student loan refi program, or at least they're helping people with. That's what they've done the whole time, is essentially getting people out of higher interest rates and lower interest rates. And when I think about what appeal they have, I always look for something that has can become a household name as well as be a good business. So if we're looking at SoFi here, what I'd like to see is that first off, we had an incredible move from $8 up to what look at 12. Secondly, I love that we have been bullish, or at least been bullishness sentiment since what, yeah, the 28th of April. So now we're essentially a full month into bullishness. To break out just yet, I would expect that to happen, or at least a move that's going to be very, very serious, because whenever we get this tight compression we're experiencing now in the range, where the top of the range and the bottom of the range are converging into the price, that is at least a signal to me that we're getting a bunch of built up energy. The kids, or not the kids, the grandparents who trade would probably call it consolidation. All of the buyers are in all this range. I don't know if I believe that. I think this market's probably more run by zero DTE options and a bunch of algos than it is people who are actually looking at their statements every day. But what do I know? When I think about where the price is from relative to where it could be, I love that it's got a green background here. The reason why is because the green background means that it's in the standard deviation range, but in that regular distribution. When you're getting the red background with the black lettering, that means it's breaking out to two standard deviations. When we're getting darker red, that's three standard deviations. We're getting the light blue, that's three standard deviations below. This is two standard deviations below. Actually, no, reverse that. This is two standard deviations below. This is three standard deviations below. There's just a lot that when I look at where SoFi is at the moment, that this is really nice. First off, we're in the middle of the range I've already highlighted. We have pretty consistent volume here, nothing that's really breaking out. In terms of volume, we're not having these explosive days. Here we saw 170 million shares. Wow. That's clearly because it's got the red lettering and the white background. That's plus three standard deviations in terms of the move there, in terms of volume. We're just not seeing even three standard deviations right now. We are seeing just slow and steady wins the race. We are seeing very consistent moves. The thing, if I'm going to be honest, that I love about this thing is that it's currently slightly below its trade level. It's incredibly bullish. It's got a higher low, and it's slightly below the trade level. Now, it was up 1% today, essentially. It's up 0.8% for the week. Yeah, this, if there's anything that I could say that I really, really like, it's when something is flipping from like a 1 month negative rolling return. This hasn't been on a 1 month negative since the middle of April. We're just about to really break the 3 month rolling return. I love that because it has been negative on a 3 month rolling return for a long time, since the 21st of February. That's it's over 3 months. It's over three and a half. It's over 3.5 months now because we're about to enter June on Monday. What I can gather from here is that we really are about to see a move in a very serious direction. And I'm going to lean on what rolling return I've seen on the 1 year rolling return look back. I'm going to add this to my portfolio real quick. I'm going to go ahead and look at the portfolio. The reason why I do the portfolio piece is because when I add things in here, I get to see it in a different view where I can collect certain things. And at the bottom, I'm going to end up getting generated AI analysis off of it. And I love the analysis because it has a perspective that I have, but it has a different, it's a little bit of magic. Things just come out sometimes. But where is SoFi? Oh, it didn't get added. It didn't get added in there in time. I'm gonna try to refresh it and see if we can send in SoFi so that we can get some analysis back. If we look, oh yeah, see, it remains. We're still working. We're still got some kinks. That's why this is free. If you go to this, if you go to traderangeauthentication.webapp.com, you can just sign up with your Gmail and you can very easily start to use these exact same features. See, okay, see, it's starting to come through. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's starting to come through. So if I slightly stretched under 1% from the bottom, delete some of these so that it'll make it easier for my sentiment to be generated for so, but if we look at what we're going to get for SoFi, what I love about SoFi, you're very close to you're very right below your trade level, just like I mentioned, and you're actually quite a bit of ways. If you watch my previous videos for Palantir and Nvidia, I will say right now, very openly, SoFi is the one I would be buying. The reason why is because it's closer to its trade level. I don't think that it's necessarily under, it's closer to its trade level. The volume hasn't exploded necessarily. The price is in the very much the middle of the range because we are 8% from the top of the range and we are about 8.4% from the bottom of the range, which makes me again to the point that I was mentioning in terms of where it sits in the middle of the range. That's very indicative of what I would like to see. And then if it shows mild bullish signals but remains close to its support at 1334, volume is supported, but the trend is cautious. It is not stretched, so patience is key. Wait for a dip towards 1212 for a better entry. First off, I like how that rhymed. Secondly, no, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. Yeah, I'll pretty much buy. If I believe that it's bullish, I'm going to buy any price that I can find that's going to be underneath the trade level and just try to load up. If we get down to 1212, I'm going to love that. I wouldn't like to be down 8% on the money that I had I would be investing, but I do think that this is, at least from what I can tell from the overall market, SoFi is just joining a large list of these small tech names, and not actually tech name the way that you would think about. They're not creating software and selling it. They're using software as a way to modernize an old antiquated system and be able to essentially sell debt to people. But people feel very comfortable with the brand. And the stock is at a price where it is still very appealing to people who are going to get pulled into the market if we get an expansion in the overall economy. We've had essentially flat quarters. If we get an expansion in the economy and people start to get money in their pocket, people are going to be back to the market. That's just how it works. It doesn't matter if it's 1999, 2009, 2019. It doesn't matter. It matters to be 2029. People are going to be coming back to the market. So I think SoFi has an opportunity to do a lot of special things in the market if this brand continues to grow, the economy continues to grow. And what we see from here is that this setup pretty much tells me what I want. Higher lows, right on the bullish, and we are starting to see a flip in the 3-month rolling return. I like what I see in SoFi. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Talk to you soon.